And hello everyone, it's Aimer here. Today is gonna be somewhat of a short video. As you might have read in the title, I tried building the Python with multi-hit, and sadly, it doesn't work for what I wanted it to work for, which is pretty much the new Abyss Colossus Tormentor. It doesn't really work for that. It works pretty nice for everything else, but for what I tried to build it for, it doesn't really work. It just doesn't have enough damage to, kill Tormentor, which is pretty sad. Now I'm not gonna bore you with mathematics because I'm not really like into that. But the reason I decided to build it for multi hit is because the Python has already a really high base multi hit damage. So I was like, okay, maybe this will work for the new Colossus, and this was my alternative to um the last Dagger, to have just like a second um weapon. But sadly, it was just not a good result. Um, so yeah, I mean, I will show you guys the build, and I will do some demonstrations live so we can see what's up with that. And yeah, so let's get right into the video. Okay, so here we have the build. As you know, with the changes from the last like two patches, they changed it so that the weak point is now applies the attribute damage, so it gets even stronger. So what we're going to do is we're going to have three weak point modules, which is going to be weak point sight, have aiming, and ultra precision strike. This will give us a lot of weak point damage, which we are going to need for this to be at least decent at everything. And yeah, fire rate, because the more as we know, the more fire rate you have, the more DPS you do. Um, and the Python already has a good enough high fire rate, so adding a bit more doesn't hurt. Action and reaction to have some attack damage. We're gonna add toxin because the Python already has a toxic attribute, and we pretty much wanted to use this for Tormentor, so we're gonna go with toxic. We're gonna go with charge amplification for even more firearm attack damage. As we know, the Python has really low critical hit rate, so multi-hit works better without, well, I can say it works better, but it's supposed to work better without critical hit damage and hit rate. So for the multi-hit modules that we're gonna use, it's gonna use multi-percussion sight, which is gonna give us 30% multi-hit um, rate. We're gonna use multi-piercing sights, which is gonna give us a 70% increase damage, and multi-hit induction, which whenever we hit a weak point is gonna give us 5.7% up to 10 stacks of multi-hit chance. Now the problem with this is that I don't know if they screwed up multi-hit, but the way it, I guess it works, because I don't really haven't figured out like truly how it works, but it doesn't work like critical hit damage, right? Where all the modules apply like add to your weapon, but like I don't know, they're like really weird. They're like not additive. You see, like it doesn't show like my weak point damage weapon option. You see what I mean? So I don't know if they screwed up with multi hit or if this is intended, but it works different and it feels kind of weird. But I already wasted the resources, so this is the build that I had the most damage on, using mental focus and sharp precision shot instead of multi-hit induction is actually a huge DPS loss, because sadly this cannot be used with multi-hit induction. So sadly, it is a pretty remarkable DPS loss if you put this any of these instead of this one. Um, for the rolls, I have toxic attack, firearm attack. The yellow ones don't really matter. Now the green one, it should be a firearm attack. Fire rate tier 10. I haven't been able to roll one, So I stuck with rounds per magazine, but honestly, I don't think it's gonna make any difference at all. Like, yeah, sure, it's gonna be a little bit DPS increase, but it's not gonna be enough for like killing Tormentor, and you will see later in the video. For my weapon substats, I have Toxic Attack, Weak Point Damage, Firearm Attack, and bonus Firearm against Colossus because we mainly want to use Toxic Attack, Weak Point Attack, and Firearm Attack damage to increase, our pretty much Toxic attribute and Weak Point damage. And the last one, it could be really anything. I just rolled a Colossus there, but doesn't really matter. Like, I don't think any other roll is gonna make a difference. Since we're not running crit rate or crit damage, you shouldn't put that in there because you literally do like no crits with this weapon. For my external components, it can be 4-piece annihilation, sorry. I'm just running this because of the HP. I was doing something else, but um again, it doesn't exactly matter. But I just like put it on for the sake of the video. And my reactor, again, doesn't matter as long as you have a skill cooldown and duration. Doesn't really like matter which one you do because we're not gonna be using our skills to do damage. For my arc tuning, it's this. So I know it's not complete. I still have a couple levels to grind, but honestly, it's not gonna make a difference. Like, I swear multi-hit is like pretty flawed in its the way it works. Because here I have 3 perks that increase my damage, 3 perks that increase my chance, and the ultimate perk that increase my chance and damage. But it's still so weak. Like it is insanely weak. I don't know what to tell you guys, and I don't think having a little bit more firearm attack damage is gonna, increase the chance of me killing Tormentor with the Python. I have killed it with the last Dagger, but I wanted, another weapon to be able to use it. But yeah, multi hit is pretty terrible for a lot of things, but not entirely. Just for this case. In my inversion reinforcement, obviously toxic rounds. Um, we're gonna add the strike point amplification whenever we land a multi hit with a firearm. We're gonna have a little bit more damage, weak point damage, up to 3 stacks. And this one I was doing like erosion, so just shouldn't put this here. But you probably can use like anything that you want. I would say maybe void resistance if you want like a little bit more tankiness, or maybe the selective cellular stimulation. It doesn't really matter as long as you have these two. But yeah, so this is pretty much the build. My glaive build is the same as my last video I did with the executor, so nothing has changed. So yeah, I'm gonna guys kind of like show you live how I do against Tormentor and how I do against Gluttony, because as we know, Gluttony is strong with against Toxic. So I'm gonna show you the 2 fights so you can judge for yourself.
It's already over. I'm disappointed.
So yeah, guys. You will see in, well, once I edit the video, you will see that at the ending, I chose to put one video of me fighting the Tormentor, but with the last dagger. Now, have in mind that the last dagger that I use in the video is with chill. You, as you can see here, it's chill. It's my last dagger that I use for Void Erosion, and I still managed to get 13 seconds. I also managed to get between like 11 and 13 seconds, sometimes 16. So the good news is that if you have a last dagger with shield fully built and you don't want to reroll, you can use that and you will get like consistent fast clears for Tormentor. The bad news is that my final toss on multi-hit is that it's kind of weak. Like it works for everything else that you don't need it to work for, at least with the Python. I think that either you have like a weapon that has insane firearm attack for multi-hit to work, like the Restored Relic. I think the Restored Relic could use multi-hit because of its pretty crazy explosive attack. And the new weapon, obviously, because it also has a way higher firearm attack and also the unique ability the new weapon has, but that only for moving. So yeah, I think multi-hit is pretty great for moving in my place, like some moving builds, maybe. I'm not really sure. But as far as Colossus go, I don't think it's the way to go. And probably, well, critical hit damage and critical hit rate might be the kings for way too long unless they fix the issue. Well, not the issue, but unless they plan to rebalance multi-hit and make it like be additive to your weapon, because as I showed you earlier in the video, it doesn't add to it for some reason. So yeah, uh, this is mostly a video that I made so that you guys don't spend your resources on the Python to try to fight Tormentor. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.